Greetings and welcome to College Planning with the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals. I'm Dr. Ketsia Sadler, founder of College Cafe, and your moderator for this workshop series. We're so excited to be back with you. It's been a few months, but anyway, we've got an amazing topic this evening for you. So I first want to start out by thanking our partners. We want to start out first, of course, with the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals for giving us this opportunity to share and to bring to our future college students all the information that they can get to be on top of their game, to use that pun as related to tonight's topic. And we also want to thank Parent Matters and Golden V, and of course, College Cafe. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. So I first want to start out, I'm going to briefly introduce our panelists because I think as we talk, we will get to know them more. And I think when a person talks about their life, it's so much more interesting. They've got that finesse and they put the emphasis on the things that are really important to them as opposed to me reading it to you. So I first want to thank Miss Celina Blount, who is a first-year student at the College of Charleston on the women's basketball team. Welcome, Ms. Blount.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So we've got also Dr. Ajaya Williams, who is a clinical assistant professor for Florida International University's Master's in Athletic Training Program. And I've known Dr. Ajay, I remember calling you Dr. Ajay. We both got our doctorates from Teachers College. It was really great being in class together with her. Our next guest is Miss McKinley Sumpter, who is a graduate student member of the women's basketball team at the College of Charleston, pursuing a Master of Arts in Communication at the College of Charleston. And Josh Jackson is our next guest. He's in his second season with the New York Mets as an athletic trainer. And Josh is a 2023 graduate of Kean University and a good friend with my nephew, Dorian Alert, who is one of the best sportscasters, I think, out there. And hopefully soon we will be joined by our last guest, who is, hold on, I can't find my notes, Miss Tiffany Connor, who is in her second year as coach with the College of Charleston's women's basketball staff. Oh, and there's Miss Connor right there. Okay, welcome. So I am so excited, everyone, to have you on tonight. If you had a chance to read in my bio briefly, my company, College Cafe, looks at the financial aspects of students going into college. We have students and their families have real conversations about the cost. And a lot of times in my conversations with them, I'm talking to them that your college education can be paid for by looking at what your strengths are, whether they're academic, athletic, artistic, whatever it is. There's money out there so your parents are not taking out Parent Plus loans. But over the years, I've noticed that you'll meet some students who are amazing athletes and they either go to school and aren't able to get funding, or they don't even go to college at all. So tonight we want to have a dialogue about your experiences, advice that you can give students, and just basically just really give them the nitty-gritty of the good, the bad, and everything else that goes along with being an athlete in college. So I'm just going to go around, just have everybody I gave a brief introduction of you, but if you could give kind of like an even little bit longer information on your journey to where you are now. Did you play sports as a younger child, and what made you decide to do what you're doing now? So we're going to start with Ms. Blount. I know you're probably the youngest of the group, but I'm sure you have a story to tell. So just tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Celina. I've been playing basketball since I was about 7 or 8. My dad played in pros in the NBA, and so he's always been someone I can talk to, look up to. And whenever basketball problems come up, I'm always calling him first to see what he has to say. He always gives good advice. I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm during my recruitment process, I had a couple offers that really stuck out to me. Of course, one of them being College of Charleston, and ever since I got here, it's been great. I have nothing to really worry about. I'm blessed to be able to play here for free, and so I think that's been one of my big things that I love about just basketball in general is I can enjoy the sport and play it for free and go to college for free.
Nice. Thank you. All right, we're going to go to McKinley. Tell us about you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. Just want to piggyback off Celina. Just super blessed to be able to go to college for free and now give back and, tell my story to others. This is actually my 6th year in college and playing college sports at the Division I level. I've been to, I think, 4 different schools, and I'm at this point in my life where I can stand up and, say that some of the reasons why I left some schools were a part of my fault, and other reasons were, some the programs were not for me. So just, my story has been, making sure that I continue to learn. I feel like, I love playing the game. I wasn't really heavily recruited out of high school, but what I worked on was my intangibles, which was leadership, taking care of my body, and just always bringing that passion to the game. And that's kind of the person that I am and always have been, just sticking true to my heart. And, things have just been able to line up where I've been able to not only get a bachelor's degree, but now get my master's degree. So I'm really thankful.
All right, nice. Thank you. Miss Connor, Coach Connor.
Hi everyone. I'm Tiffany Connor. I have the pleasure of coaching those two young ladies. Love them to death. It's been a blessing. I'm in about my 10th year coaching. This is probably my 5th school. I did play as well. I started at the age about 7, and then I did get an athletic scholarship to the University of South Florida. Once I graduated, ball was life, so I became a basketball coach, and I started helping AAU, but I think I started at the 8th grade level. Did high school, JUCO, Division II, Division III. I've been blessed to just help out wherever I can. Lived in 5 different states, just kind of coaching the game of basketball, a sport I love. And now being at the College of Charleston, like I said, I'm blessed to coach those two and 12 other young ladies that they just help me grow, and I'm hoping I help them grow.
Nice. Thank you. All right, Mr. Jackson, your turn.
Hi everyone, I'm Josh. First of all, I want to say thank you guys for having me. Um, Personally, I started off in a couple different schools. I was all over the place coming out of high school. I played baseball and football growing up at the age of like 8, and then baseball kind of stuck in high school. Um, Going through high school, I knew I kind of wanted to play somewhere where I felt like, I don't know, that it was like a family more than just like a team. So I had a couple places where I played, and I spent some time in the training room early in my career, and so I became good friends with the trainers. And that's honestly where I am today. Like seeing what they do, I appreciated them, everything they did for me. They helped me stay on the field, honestly. And then like I appreciated like what they did, like behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that people don't know that trainers do. That's more than just taping ankles. But I really appreciated them. And then I played baseball for 5 years at my school. And I don't know, I just love for the game, love for my teammates. They make me better. Like McKinley was saying, like the intangibles are some of the things that you can't teach, like being a leader on the field, off the field, and then just being a leader in the classroom as well. Like that was big for us, making sure that everyone was able to play. And then now this is my second year with the New York Mets. I did 2 seasons with the Cleveland Browns prior, and I'm honestly glad to be back into baseball. Thank you guys again for having me.
All right, thank you. And we're going to round out with Dr. AJ.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Dr. Ajaya Williams. I'm happy that Dr. Sadler had me. We haven't talked in so long. Similar to many of you, I wasn't a coach. I'm an athletic trainer as well, like Josh. I started out playing basketball actually in high school. I'm from Brooklyn, New York originally, and realized that I liked the healthcare side a lot more than getting up early and having to go to workouts. That was not me. So I actually attended Hofstra University and got my undergrad, my bachelor's in athletic trainer from Hofstra. I actually started off 2 years at Stony Brook and then transferred to Hofstra. And then I was fortunate to get a graduate assistantship at Florida State and was there for 2 years. And then afterwards, I wanted to make my way back home to New York. So I worked at Columbia University for 11 years. And 7 of those years, I was a clinical, I was an athletic trainer for men's basketball. And luckily, I found a great job that paid for my doctoral degree. So Columbia, that's how I met Dr. Sadler and got my doctorate in health education, and then was offered a position at University of Miami, to start teaching. And I was kind of torn. I love the clinical side. It was kind of one of those like, which way do we go? And I'm actually happy I made the decision to go to because now I teach future athletic trainers. And in about 2021, I transferred over or moved over to Florida International University and started teaching in their master's program. And that's where I'm here. That's where I'm at today, at Florida International University. So my transition was going from playing in high school to really loving healthcare and wanting to keep my patients doing what they love to do. And now I'm really honored to be able to educate the future athletic trainers. And that's where I'm at right now.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. And, I hadn't even thought about athletic trainers because I was so focused on the athletes, but the trainers are so much more important. So I'm kind of going to shift the questions a little bit. So as athletes in high school, did you find what was it that the trainers did in addition to help support your dream, if you of wanting to go on and play collegiate level, if that's what you wanted to do, or if you were kind of hesitant, did they help to support that that decision? Anybody can jump in.
Well, I'll say I tried to stay out of my trainer's office. Hopefully the less injuries, the more healthier you are. I was blessed. I felt I had a good trainer in high school. I had Dr. Cieslak. He's been at Teaneck High School at least 20 years because he, was my cousin's trainer, my brother's trainer. My cousin is about 10, 13 years older than me. So I was blessed to have him, and he was always good about taking care of your body to get you back on the court, and made sure, the goal is to get you back on the court as soon as possible, but to make sure you're healthy. And he was the only one. So we had about, say if it's 500 kids at a time, athletes, he was the only one, and he made sure he knew all of our names. If we were athletes, he knew our names, and, was very personable. So I was blessed to have him, but I definitely tried to stay out of there as much as possible. I used to have little thumb jams most of my high school year. So he would just tape me up and just say, it's just a jam. You're not dying. And so that was good to hear.
Okay. Anybody else want to comment on the trainer or anything?
I will. So I actually have really flat feet. I have no arch at all. And that is an issue. It's like kind of a domino effect because your feet power you to go everywhere. So I wasn't really sure of why I would always be the one to have like shin splint injuries or calf or whatever it may be, just over time as seasons would go along. So I would say one thing that I'm thankful, especially for my trainers, is not that they would only work on me, but they would teach me as well about myself, and that, some things that you may not have like everyone else, that maybe some people may see as a handicap, you have to learn and play with the cards that you're dealt and still, show up and show out. So I'm thankful for that, where it's like when you're able to be educated on something, that it unlocks a new door and unleashes more potential that you have in yourself, rather than just seeing it as something that's going to hold you back.
Got it. Anyone else want to comment? No.
Kind of the same as Mick. I roll my ankles really easily. I sprain them almost every time I play. I roll an ankle, and as time has gone, I've had like a couple of bad sprains. But my high school trainers kind of like helped me. They personalized my tape to a certain like way, so I'm not as inclined to sprain my ankles, roll my ankles, and like I think coming into like college too, like how watching trainers tape everyone's ankles differently because everyone's not the same. That's kind of been just like a big thing, because like not everyone's gonna have the same ankle tape, not everyone's gonna have the same anything really, but seeing them like personalize it makes it just a better experience for me.
Okay. So do you see the role as a trainer, is it different looking at it from the high school level versus at the college level, or is it pretty much the same?
I would say it's different because at college you're doing a lot more. You're in the gym almost 10 plus hours a day sometimes, just going from weights, individuals, but like the actual practice in general. they have to know more about you, more about your body. And in high school, they're like Coach Tiff said, there might be one trainer for 500 kids. In college, there's one trainer for maybe 2 sports, if not one, just depending on how big the sports are. So I think one of the main differences is being able to see them interact with different people more, I guess.
Okay, got it. So I'm going to pivot a little bit and talking more from the high school aspect. How involved were your guidance counselors when you were trying to look at possibly going to schools to play sports, if that was your path? Was the guidance counselor supportive? Were they reluctant? And then in looking also at the NCAA.org, who kind of guided you if you were on that, if you registered on their site, who really was the one to pivot and help you to navigate what you needed to do?
Well, I can't speak for the collegiate athlete standpoint, but just in general, since you have 2 athletic trainers on the board, my guidance counselors, unfortunately, I think they meant well, but they were very limiting. One, I wasn't going towards college sports, but I was looking to get into a sports medicine position. And initially was looking at physical therapy, and then I decided to transfer over to athletic training. So I think the unfortunate part of being in a Brooklyn public school, and this was just my high school, I don't want to generalize, that most of the thought process was to stay locally, and the encouragement wasn't necessarily to go outside of New York City. So it's very common to have, I don't think it's bad to apply to your local JUCO or city college or state college, but I would say that I was fortunate because both of my parents went to college, that we actually looked outside of the state. And because I wasn't actually looking to go play a sport, that to me was kind of limiting. Even though I did have friends that went on to play collegiate sports, they did have the encouragement, but it wasn't from the guidance counselor. It was from like their coaches that actually supported them, or their travel teams that actually encouraged. So I think in my case, it was very limiting in regards to resources being presented, moving outside of your local resources.
Got it.
Yeah, so to piggyback off of that, I would say some of my instances were pretty similar. My guidance counselor actually ended up leaving like halfway through my high school, like 4 years. And so my first 2 years, her and I were in contact because she knew I was interested in playing in college. And then she left. And so then I felt like I was kind of on my own. At some point, a lot of my coaches really helped out with colleges and picking like the place that would best suit me. And then playing on travel teams, like those coaches, I feel like they had better rapport with the college coaches, but they see you more often. And I mean, speaking like for baseball, like everything's done in the summer, so you're not really in school too much. So that's like the big time for recruiting. And, you know, just for me as an athlete, knowing that I wanted to go and play in college, I think they were a bigger help, them and my family, than really a guidance counselor. But I knew that like talking to my guidance counselor, like her and I are still in touch now from high school. And like I'm happy to say that like she helped me get to where I am today in my career. So.
Nice. Good to hear. Anyone else want to comment?
If I could shift it a little bit, I guess now as a coach, I do speak to guidance counselors, trying to get transcripts and different things. But when I was in high school as a player, I used to rely on my athletic director a little bit more. I thought he kind of knew the athletic side of things and, what classes I needed to take. Don't do this class. It's not going to help you for the future. And, trying to get me ahead compared to my guidance counselor who wasn't really on the athletic side, where I think now just learning, it's important to have a guidance counselor, to make sure you're taking the proper math, the proper English, and not just say, I'm in all gym, we're passing, we're good. As much as everybody loves gym class, it doesn't help prepare for that next level. So I think I have 2 different experiences just because of when I was in high school, I wanted gym every day, all day. Please put me in all the gyms, volleyball, whatever. But now it's like, no, I should have actually took maybe an AP math or, that AP English that I was running from, I think it would have prepared me just a little bit better on those main subjects.
Okay. So speaking of that, let's kind of talk about the whole academic side of being an athlete from the high school to the collegiate side. What advice can you give our students out there who, let's talk about like the time management. How did that shift from high school to now playing at the collegiate level?
For me, it was like night and day, honestly. Like, yeah, I mean, you don't have your parents anymore. Like, I remember I'm the oldest, so I would drop my mom off at work and I'd take, my brother and sister to elementary school. And then I rolled up to school like maybe like 10 minutes late and stuff. And then in college, I tried that thing my freshman year and it was like, no, like just 1 minute late. Like, you can't, like, it's just accountability is the biggest thing and understanding, like, you're going to be so different from your peers because it's only 3% of the population that really go on to play a college sport. So you're going to be doing different things than your peers are. And you have to move in that way because you have different goals. So that was really the biggest thing for me. Just being more accountable, time management, and I would say just being professional because at the end of the day, when you go to college, you think like, oh yeah, like you are still in school, but it's a business. So you have to show up and you have to be ready to do your job every day on and off the court.
And how is it as a graduate student as opposed to being undergrad? Is it different?
So I'm actually in an online program. So I have no in-person classes, which I'm not unfamiliar with due to me starting college. I think it was the middle second semester of my freshman year is when we all were basically had to go inside the house for COVID. So I'm used to taking online classes. I will say when I first came here, it was a large adjustment for me because I liked getting back in the classroom. I love having, excuse me, social interactions and just connecting with others. So this is more of a secluded program, being that I'm in classes with people that are all kinds of different ages, have jobs, have children and stuff like that. So it's not really like we have many class discussions. Sometimes when I want to talk to my teacher, she's like, hey, give me a call, or she'll call me. So it's just very unconventional and different, but I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for the time I spent at undergrad. My parents always tell me, don't rush it, don't rush it. You rushing it, you don't want to rush it. And it's like now I'm here, I'm like, dang, I kind of missed this. I missed that. So yeah, it's different for sure, but everything is different. So I just try to take it, and just try to make the best out of it and learn something.
Okay, thank you. So yes, our other two, well, Josh, Mr. Jackson, Ms. Blount, you want to comment on how it was how it is as a student athlete?
Yeah. So for me, I'd say in high school, it's kind of like you go through the motions in high school. It's kind of you just show up and you pass. It's really not like too much. And then like if you put in a little more effort, that's where you get your A's and your B's. So for me, I was like naturally just good in school. So it kind of helped where I just didn't like I felt I looked more towards sports than I was actually education at the time. So I wasn't really taking it too serious. And then like that first week you go in, like you have a 5 a.m. practice and you got to go to class afterwards. And it's like the teacher doesn't care about your excuse. Like there's a bunch of other kids that have an excuse themselves. So it's like you need to get there, learn. And if you fail, you fail. Like they're not pushing you to like keep going. Like I always looked at it as they were getting paid either way. And they have a bunch of other students they got to worry about. They're not really worried about one person who doesn't want to, pass and do well. So I think after my first year, it really hit me like, okay, like if I want to do this school thing, like I got to take it seriously, be more involved, like actually apply myself. And that just comes with better time management. You realize that sometimes you have to lift in the morning and then you've got to squeeze in time to eat and squeeze in time to go to class. And then you have practice at the end of the day and it's like, oh, you're tired, but you got to do work afterwards. So it's a grind, honestly. For all the years I was in college, it was a grind. And there were days where I didn't want to go to practice. There were days I didn't want to go to school or class. But you thug it out. You kind of just push yourself. And like, I don't know, people that are student athletes, there's just a different mindset. It's like you can relate to the other people that you're in, like the population, But from like the Gen Pop, it's just a different mindset. Like you're a grinder and you want to work hard and you want to succeed, and not in only school but in the classroom. So that was kind of how my mindset shifted from high school to college.
Got it. Okay.
Kind of the same. Towards the end of high school, after basketball season was done, I'd go to class for maybe math, then senior flex, and I'd leave, and then block days or whatever. So, and I was passing, had A's and B's. I was like, I don't really need to go to class. Like, I'm fine. And then college came through, and I was like, I don't really need to go to class. Like, I'm fine. But like 95% of your grade is just attendance. So it's like you can go to class and sleep and do whatever. And like as long as you're there, it's more of like okay, pay attention if you're here. At least that's been my experience so far. First semester wasn't that good. Second semester, I'm getting on top of it and have my parents kind of check in on me every once in a while. So it's a big adjustment, but I've gotten a little bit used to it now.
Okay. So do you, as athletes, do they provide additional tutors for you? Do you have like some mandatory study hours that you have to, whether you're in your room or in the library or something, just to get caught up because you're there to study first?
I can speak for us. I know during the off season, it was mandatory, I think like 15 hours a week, whether it be in the library, in the computer lab, somewhere where you were studying and doing like work before you were even allowed to think about stepping on the field or anything. And that was for us. Like you had to be on your schedule, and it was tough, especially freshman year, because it's like most of the time you're in gen ed classes, so you don't really need to spend 15 hours studying for those, but like everyone's got to go through it. I would say it's completely different because I don't think, me personally, I did too much studying, and definitely not 15 hours worth in high school. So
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's pivot and talk about the different divisions of the schools. Did you guys have any preferences going division? I still don't understand Division 1, 2, 3. So if the coach and the trainers want to enlighten me on that, that would be great. And then athletes, did you have a preference as to which school you wanted, or which division of school you wanted to be recruited by and attend?
So I would speak on that. All divisions are important, to be honest. I know a lot of people rank them because I've coached at every division. I think at the junior college, everybody thinks, oh, that's a 2-year school, but they provide just as much scholarship and just as much opportunity as a 4-year institution. Division 1 and Division 2 provide a little bit more financially with an athletic scholarship. Division 3 does not have an athletic scholarship, but it provides an academic scholarship. So that's the only difference. And who wants to pay for college, right? Nowadays, especially, it's very expensive. So you try to, put best forth to your skill to get some type of scholarship or some type of payment, I guess. Because at the Division 2 level, coaching there, I've also provided young ladies with some scholarship as well. So that's the only thing of the difference is the scholarship part of it, which you can get financially, athletically from us coaches. Division 1 is usually the highest. So it's usually ranking at Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, and then there's junior college after that. And there is an NAIA that also provides scholarships. So there's a lot of opportunity out there that a lot of people don't know about, but it's there. It is there. It's just finding the right places and the right program to be around. But it's so many opportunities, and I think it needs to be, I guess, promoted more. And I say, when I was getting recruited, I was like only Division 1. I only wanted to go Division 1. I felt that was the highest level. At that time, UConn was on their 81 game winning streak. So I was like, oh, I want to play against them. Like, nah, let's snap this winning streak. We lost, by the way. But, I just wanted to be a part of that and not realizing all the other opportunities until I started coaching and seeing different young ladies who, this kid is just as good, or taking a chance on this young lady and giving them the opportunity and different things like that. So they're all important. It's just figuring out which program fits you. That's important. I think that people don't realize. Instead of going to a program that might be Division I, find somewhere that fits you and what you're looking to do for your future.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Sumpter, let's go back to you because you had mentioned you went to different schools. So
Yes.
what is it that made you start at one and then realize that that was not the place for you? What would
Basically,
you,
oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, what would you do differently now in retrospect to, like I said, talking to a younger student who's in high school, what would you tell them to make sure that they find the right place and not skip around?
Oh yeah, basically Coach Tiff hit it right on the head. Just, wanting to go to the top level. All I really knew about was Division I, playing travel ball. I was getting letters in the mail from all these big schools, and I would go to their camps and stuff, and you have to pay for the camp. My high school coach would take me to the camp sometimes, and they would want to see me, be like, oh, okay, yeah, you played well, but none of them would really offer me. So it's kind of knowing, having someone around you that can kind of tell you, like, okay, yeah, if you go to this camp or you talk to this school, they're really interested in you, because like really looking at it, you're just a number on the board, like they're going to try to build relationships with you and try to figure out, but ultimately, like it's going to be a leaderboard of who they want first, second, third, and it's just however you fall on there. So I would say I didn't find the program that fit for me. I wanted to go to a Division I program, and by the end of my high school career, I only had one Division I offer, and I said, "Oh yeah, I'm going there." And I am. That school was, I think, like 6 hours away. All the other schools I've been to, I have not been more than 3 hours away, because I'm just a family person. I love to have my family at my game supporting me. Like that just means so much to me. At 24 years old, I will not even, lie about that. I love to be around my family. I don't want to be away from them. So that was one of the main things for me. And just, when I went on the visit, sometimes the coaches and the players, they don't really tell you everything, and the grass is not greener anywhere. It's just what fits you best. So just, I went and I was young and just not really paying attention, and saw what I wanted to see, or didn't really think, you're going from home and your home school where you're the best player in the city and everybody knows you and stuff. And then you go to a place where, you're just a number. These people don't know you. It's like not everyone has your best interest at heart overall. Some people do now, but unfortunately, that situation was not like that. And then also the following year, my coach got fired. So when there's a coaching change, some schools, they let you keep your scholarship for that next year. And sometimes they go ahead and tell you, hey, you're not what we want. So go ahead and find somewhere else. And so I had to play for a coach who didn't recruit me. And that situation ended up not going well either. It kind of was a runoff scheme in the end of it. And so I ended up transferring again. And that was when the NCAA had the rule that once you transferred more than once, you had to sit out a whole year. And so I was ineligible for an entire season due to transferring. So that year was pretty tough, but it gave me some time to get my mind right, get my heart right, and see basketball from another perspective, because I've always been on the court. Like I've never really been the person to sit on the bench or whatever. So just being a person where I was carrying the water bottles or bringing the energy, it really shifted me as a person, and kind of being held in that spot changed my heart and my mind, and made me understand and appreciate a different aspect of the game. And so I ended up playing the next 2 years there, and every time it just lit a fire up under me, and I was just playing so hard and just so grateful for the opportunity. And then it came to the end where I finished, and my school didn't have a master's program. So it's like, oh gosh, I have to go again. And so I saw the College of Charleston. I talked to Coach Tiff a little bit, and I came down for 2 visits, and I was like, man, I do not want to do this recruitment process for too long. I kind of know how this goes. I want to get buckets. Who doesn't love the beach? Hey, I'm coming. And the rest is history. So I'm just thankful and grateful for my experience. Honestly, the no's or the what I thought was a yes, and where I got redirected, it really changed me, and it really gives me something that a lot of people don't have, where some people be like, "Ooh, she been to 4 schools. Like she must be da 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 da, like it has to be something wrong with me. But sometimes that's just how things work out, and I'll always be proud of my journey. So really blessed and grateful, and for the good and the bad, honestly.
Nice, thank you. Anyone else want to chime in? No. Okay, so let me ask, what were some other challenges along this journey of becoming a college athlete? Anything come to mind that you can say that you overcame, or any pitfalls that our students out there who are watching that they should look out for, that they don't fall prey to in the process?
I'll start. So for me, I would say a few things. One, I liked when my family came and watched my baseball games, and the big thing was trying to pick somewhere where it was, feasible for me to go, and they could enjoy the games. But you also, like, growing up in New Jersey, it's cold, and no one likes to play baseball in the cold. So it's a tough, like, thing to do, trying to play in the cold, but also stay close to my family, but wanting to play in the warmth. So that was like one of the big things, because I knew that I played better when they were at the games. So that was kind of one of the things that I looked out for, that I realized that was more beneficial for me. And something I wish I would have done was probably ask more questions. Like when I was young, like I wasn't really asking too many questions. Like they were just telling me a bunch of things and everything I wanted to hear at all the schools you go and visit, because then like they know how to sell people. It's not the first time doing it. Like you're not the first person coming to visit. But like asking why do people leave the school, like doing my own research about the school, and seeing like why like there's a big turnaround with players that are going there, or why there's a big turnaround with coaches. Like what's their issue? Like what's your problem? And I wish I would have asked more questions. It probably would have saved me a couple years in college. But again, I'm grateful for my experiences because I learned a lot at the schools that I was at. And it's taught me a lot of things, and it's made me a better person. And it helped me understand like what I like in not just sports, but like just life in general.
Okay, thank you. So as relates also to students who they're athletes in high school and they don't end up going and playing collegiate sports. So what do you think are some things that might happen? Like you're the star athlete, your high school has, they've got coach of the year, you scored all the points. I'm talking about all the different sports, whether it's football, whatever. So what do you think happens that the kids go off or they don't go and play a professional, or they don't play at the collegiate level? So what do you think may be some things that happen that future generations could possibly avoid in that situation?
I would just say personally, I guess, that sometimes like where you're from, they just don't like, it's not a big town. They don't notice you. It's like, and some people just don't get their name out there. Like that's a lot of people I've talked to, a lot of people I've grown up with, they were good at athletes at their sport, but it's just, you were the best in our small town, but you maybe not have been the best around. So it's tough. Like you just go fly under the radar. And it's like sometimes you're better than the person that's playing at the Dukes, the UNCs, but they have better connections. So I think one thing that I wish I would have done was, put myself out there more. And like, I don't know, social media is such a big thing now. Like you can look on social media and see like, oh, look at this player, like look at this basketball player, look at this football player. Like everyone knows who you are on social media nowadays. So using that to your advantage as a platform for yourself. And I think like other reasons why, just honestly going somewhere new where you know that everyone else is just as good as you. Like sometimes it scares people. I know people that could have played in college, and it's like, oh, like I don't want to take the chance and fail. Like no one likes failure. Like it's just like as human nature, no one likes to fail. So, just the thought of failing, the thought of like not being good enough somewhere, the thought of not being like the starting whatever quarterback, center, catcher, like that creeps into your mind. And sometimes it's like you'd rather just go to school, party, have fun, and do whatever instead of, face the failure and then deal with that.
Thank you. Anyone else want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll add. I'll say kind of where Josh was going with kind of imposter syndrome, where it's like you you don't feel like you're deserving anymore, or that you really have worth because you stopped playing your sport or you're not performing. If you do go and play at the next level and you're playing with these girls or boys that are just as good as you, that you're not worth anything anymore, and that can kind of lead to mental health struggles. And that kind of goes back to the previous question you were talking about, with just something to look out for and just be mindful of, is that this is hard. Like life is hard, period. So just keeping tabs on your mental health and making sure that you're always prioritizing yourself as well as others. I'm not saying just be selfish and it's just about me, but just really making sure that you're taking care of yourself mentally, whether you play a sport or you don't play a sport, like that you still are somebody and you're worth, everything in this world. You can still be something, even if it's not what you've been doing or what you thought that you should have been doing at that moment in your life.
Okay, thank you. So where does everyone see themselves going forward from where you are now? I know, Ms. Blount, you're just getting started, but what does it look like for you 5 years from now?
I mean, I know I want to stay in sports. I personally have always been someone that's like looked ahead to the future. So I'm gonna major in some sort of law and business, and I looked at agents and like being a agent for the NBA, NFL, WNBA, staying involved in sports. But like at the same time, when I was younger, I wanted to do law and be a real lawyer and go to court and do all these things. So I know I have an idea of somewhere I want to go, someplace I want to be. It just if I want sports involved or not. That's really it.
Okay. Next, anybody else can jump in. Everyone's happy where they are?
I would say possibly a head coach, possibly. I'm very happy where I am because I'm able to gain the different type of relationships that I think when you become, I guess, kind of a boss, I feel like those relationships kind of they don't pan out the same way because you're always in meetings or you got this to do, that to do. Whereas an assistant, I have a little bit more free time, but I would not mind being a head coach possibly in the next 4 to 5 years.
Okay, thank you.
Mine's a little different since I'm in academia. To be honest, being associate and full-time professor, I can honestly say that I like the flexibility that though I love working in sports, I don't miss the time constraints, and I do like the academic freedom. But I still do contract work, but not at the level that I was doing it on the clinical side. So I do really enjoy the academic side. I like to encourage young adults to continue to move into our profession. I think one thing that I learned, and kind of similar to your question earlier, even though I wasn't an athlete, but to understand your options that you have, because your question was earlier is like, well, what happened? Why weren't people recruited, or why didn't they go professionally? And sometimes I think I was listening to a podcast today, is that there's a lot of limitations as well in regards to if you are a college athlete. I used to get really disappointed that our football players couldn't get take certain classes or pursue a certain degree because it conflicted with practice, and so it's like, I think that that's a bad dynamic of, you might have an opportunity to be an engineer, but unfortunately your engineering class is in the middle of practice, and having that flexibility of knowing that there's a life after sports and everybody's not going to go pro later on. So I think that's a big concerning thing that we need to speak to collegiate athletes about, or high school athletes that want to go collegiate, and collegiate athletes looking at what's going to happen after their career, because if that's only a snapshot of potentially, I don't know the percentage of the stat right now of how many people actually go pro, but it's not very large, right? And also everyone doesn't necessarily want to go coach, but that's another opportunity. My husband is a basketball official. I won't say his name because I know that he officiates in your league, so I'll leave that there. That's why I put my last name for a reason. I'm happy I did. So just to know that there is just other opportunities, especially if you start early. There are other opportunities outside or adjacent to sport. I say I'm sport adjacent still. I love I love the athletic side. I love the health side. I'm still in it. I just am supporting the future athletic trainers. So I think we need to do a better job of continuously showing the options and the opportunities that are outside of sport. So that's the other thing I think is really important as well.
Anyone else? So we kind of mentioned, Josh, Mr. Jackson, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like 5 years from now, like I like baseball, like I like it, but it is a lot of travel currently. So maybe 5 years from now, like I still like sports and I hope to still work in sports, but football was always fun because I like the fast pacedness. Same with basketball, I've worked at maybe more fast paced and like a smaller sample size of a season, because 160 games wears on you a little bit throughout a year. So yeah, hopefully in a different sport, but we'll see.
Okay, all right. Ms. Sumpter?
I'm right at the crossroads, almost trying to decide. So this is the question that makes me uncomfortable at the food gatherings with my family. But in the next 5 years, I really just see myself giving back in some way. Doc made a good point talking about areas that are adjacent to sports, not just in it. And so I'm trying to navigate that to see if I really want to be in it or do I want to do something that's still impactful and still connected to sports, but maybe just not right on top of it because I forgot, I didn't say earlier, I have been playing basketball since I've been 3 years old. My dad introduced me to it. And when he would be in charge of watching me, he would take me to the basketball gym with him. And so that's how I started to learn how to play. So maybe branch out and try something new. But I went and watched the basketball game the other day from the sideline. And I didn't like the way I felt. It's just different. Like I'm like, oh my gosh. And then to think that like I'm almost finished, it's scary to take a step out of what I've done forever. So I mean, I just really want to be happy and be fulfilled and not limit myself and of course always give back to others. So I don't have a solid answer, but that's all I got
Okay.
right now.
That's okay. That works. But I want to go back also and Coach Connor and Ms. Blount, you both were scholarship recipients for your education as an athlete. So how much pressure is that? We already talked about the study aspect, but was it kind of disappointing? Although Ms. Blount, you haven't picked a major yet, but for Ms. Connor, was it kind of disappointing that you couldn't pick the major you wanted because of limitations due to your athletic schedule?
Yes, but no. Because I wanted to go Division I and where I wanted to go play, I did change my major. I actually ended up changing my major twice, which then made me go back and now I'm paying for my master's. So I have my master's, but now I have debt, which that's usually what happens. And now if I would have picked a school based on academics, I probably would have had I have my master's in sports management. Always wanted to be that athletic director that bridged the gap that I was kind of talking about with, understanding what classes I needed to be taken, the GPAs, and really helping. I think there's so many athletes out here, and they like I said, I think they don't understand all the opportunities. I don't. I think people don't realize. Like I've heard even to this day, parents D3, D2, JUCO. I don't get it. And I'm hoping that I could possibly still do that one day. I'm just not ready to get off the court. Even while my voice is like this, I think I did a little bit too much yelling yesterday at our game. But I do hope to one day fulfill my master's degree. I almost feel like I told my mom the other day, I think my undergrad is a waste, but it was communications. So I think I'm able to communicate and relate to young student athletes because I did that, because I used to be very shy. People probably be like, what? But yeah, my players, I know you guys are looking at me crazy because I yell at y'all now, but I used to be very, very shy and I didn't want to do no public speaking, anything. So I will say, I guess my communications, my bachelor's in communications helped me kind of be like, okay, you know what? I know what I'm talking about. Let me try to help out a few of these young shy ladies that we have now on the team. So it hurt me, but I think it helped me become a better person at the end of the day.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, and we talked about the leadership skills, whether they are on the court, off the court. So I think that's really important. And yes, your communication skills definitely is a part of that, because you gotta let them know that they're doing the play properly or whatever. I don't even know what all the plays are, because I mean, I watch the games and I'm like, how did I know what that was? So yes, a lot of communication going on with that. So anything else that we can tell our virtual audience? Anything, any question I might have missed, or anything burning that just popped into you that said, oh my gosh, I need to share that piece of information? Because I'm hoping that students who are watching can see, first of all, how varied your career can be. You know, you can play as an athlete, but then you can go to so many different places with it, and then the preparation for it as well. So any other tips that you have or information that we can give out to our youngsters and their parents too, because sometimes the parents kind of need to have a realistic view of what's going to happen, because everybody wants their child to go to the NFL, the NBA, or whatever, and that may not really happen. So, you know, what can we say to them?
I would like to say one thing, just as a coach, and like I said, I've been with a few different programs. If any high schooler wants to study something, I'm telling you, a coach will figure out the schedule for them to be able to study, especially now. We have a few people that did engineering, where I will say, I remember my coach was like, no, you have to pick certain majors, you know, that did go around practice time. Well, now it has changed, you know, a little bit, where it's, all right, well, that means we have to practice in the afternoon because we have 3 kids that's in computer science, or, you know, 4 kids that's taking this class, where, you know, it's a little bit more flexible, because I think they are realizing everybody is not going pro. But you have to wean out those programs. And even though I know a lot of people have dream schools and, you know, like, oh, I got to play there, I want to go there. You know, I think those academics, like I said, it helped me, but I also think it kind of hurt me. Just off the strength of, like I said, I think I could have been done in the undergrad, but I was able to do my master's. But there's coaches out there that do respect you as a student first, and we'll change that, you know, the schedule to say, well, let's go take these classes and we'll practice around certain times. And, you know, why not go be a doctor as well as play ball? You know, I know that was a big one. Why not do nursing? Because I know their schedule, the clinicals and all that. But just continue their dream and find a program that fits what you love.
Okay, good point. Good point. Well, all right. If there's nothing else that's coming up, I want to thank each one of you for taking time out today to talk to our virtual audience. And definitely, I hope that the students who are listening and the parents as well got some information to help them understand how they can play collegiate sports and have an impact on their future, and bring out different areas that they might not have thought about career-wise. So again, we want to thank the partners who have been supporting this broadcast: the National Alliance for the Advancement of Haitian Professionals, Parent Matters, Golden V, and College Cafe. So again, to my amazing panel, thank you so much for joining this evening. Your information was good for me because I learned a lot. So thank you so much. And on that note, I'll say good night and stay safe, warm. Those of you in the South, send us some warmth up here in New Jersey, because it's a little cold. We got snow. So, but stay safe.
Send it to you.
Thank you. Don't forget your sunscreen if you're out in the snow, in the sun. Right.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for
Thank you.
joining us. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.